The NASCAR Whelen Euro Series returns to the track at Brands Hatch for American Speedfest on the 1st and the 2nd of June. It's one of the highlights of the season for the fans and the drivers as they race around this iconic 1.2-mile circuit. Last year the circuit provided some fantastic bumper-to-bumper, door-handle-to-door handle racing action, some pure racing. Who will claim the win at American Speedfest 7? Who will take maximum championship points? Well, welcome back to Brands Hatch, everybody, for our final race of the weekend. We've seen already 3 great races from the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series, 2 from the Elite 1 division. There was one yesterday from Elite 2, but they've got their second race to look forward to that will be coming up in just a few moments' time. This iconic track here, which was the venue and the site of Ayrton Senna's first ever race, and its final Formula 1 race went the way of Nigel Mansell. 10 key parts to the circuit, but only 6 turns to it. And in this race, it's going to be slightly shorter than the 38 laps that's displayed there, because this is Elite 2. It will be a 30-lap race that will decide who is going to win round 6 of the 2019 championship. As ever, we try and get one of the drivers from the other division to come and join me in the commentary box. So on the basis of it's the Elite 2 race that's coming up, it must be an Elite 1 driver that's come to join me, and it is from the number 46 Marco Steep Motorsport with AMG tuning car. We've seen some great racing from him throughout the course of this weekend. Welcome along, Ant Wharton-Eales.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be up here, to be honest.
It's the best view in the house, isn't it? And the people at home watching this can't really see the fantastic bird's eye view that we get.
Yeah, I mean, this is the highest I've ever been up the top of Brands Hatch on the up here on this outside platform. So yeah, like you say, we've got a cracking view, and hopefully we're going to see some great racing. We
saw some great racing from you over the course of the weekend. You were involved in some real wheel-to-wheel battles, not least of which in the race that we had earlier on today.
Yeah, it's a shame that we didn't quite finish that race, to be honest. Like I say, the guys at Marco Stipp Motorsport have done a great job on the car. New team for this weekend. And yeah, we had a bit of wheel-to-wheel racing. We slightly knocked the front tracking out, and as a result went off at paddock and ended at a DNF, but at least we were trying.
We saw you at Valencia. You couldn't quite make Franciacorta. You're back here at Brands Hatch. As ever with motorsport, budgets are issues. Fingers crossed we'll see you back out at least one more race this year.
Yeah, I think for now the plan is to do Venray in mid-July. Obviously I've got a bit of an oval background, oval family, so it'd be nice to do an oval in these cars and see what it's like, and I suppose it's more of a real American feel on an oval.
I'm looking forward to Venray. I've not been before. Is it a circuit that you've been to with...
Not the new track. The old Venray track was a fair few years ago now. We used to go with the Formula 1 stock cars, but there's a new circuit there that's been built over the last 4 or 5 years, I think. So no, I've not been there, and it'd be great to see what it's like.
And Formula 1 stock cars, just tell us a little bit about that, because obviously for many of you that are watching, if they know you, they'll know you from the Renault UK Clio Cup where you were champion, or from BTCC. But you've been quite successful in F1 stocks as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's a family affair, really. My granddad, dad, all my uncles, my cousin, they've raced it. Very similar setup to the cars that you see here. V8 Chevys, rear-wheel drive. Apart from the Formula 1s, obviously got steel bumpers all round for moving the guy in front.
Because it's a full contact sport,
yeah. Almost double the power of these, 700-800 horsepower.
Wow.
And on very, very small ovals, so it's very close racing, and gets very aggressive.
And I suppose, that sort of, as a racing driver, that must hone the senses, isn't it? Because it is so raw. You've got all of that power. You've got a pack of lots of other cars jostling around you. So your ability to understand where your competitors are and in F1, move them out the way in the most effective way is quite key. And some of those skills are very transferable to this. Not the contact part, but the rest of it.
Yeah, a lot of drivers that circuit race currently, there's a lot of guys behind the scenes that are from oval racing. They still keep their foot in oval racing. It's not as fast as circuit racing, obviously, with sort of 70, 80, 90 miles an hour at the end of the straight, but to be in such a close pack of cars keeps you really sharp.
And then on to, I suppose, the other things that we'll see. We'll maybe come to those in a few moments' time. I was going to talk about coming from the back of the grid. We'll come to that in a bit, because what I want to do now is look back at some of the action that we saw over the course of yesterday. Two great races here at Brands Hatch yesterday. So a win yesterday in Elite 1 for Alan Day, and in Elite 2, Lasse Sorensen, and that's what we'll now come back to, because we're talking about short ovals, and on short ovals the white tops start at the front, the gold tops, if there are any, start at the back, so arguably the quicker drivers have to overtake everybody if they want to win. That is exactly what Lasse Sorensen, who hasn't come from that short oval background, did yesterday. Started at the back, came through in only his second weekend of racing in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series and claimed the win.
Yeah, it's pretty unbelievable, really. I mean, some of the overtakes that he was doing was pretty incredible around Brands Hatch. I'm not sure how many times he's been here in the past, but
first time.
There you go. Looks like he's been here for many years, and quite difficult in the Elite 2 race, being slightly shorter than Elite 1 as well. So, pretty big achievement that.
People say, yeah, as we signed off yesterday, people say you can't overtake at Brands Hatch, and we'll forget that. Lasse Sorensen has thrown that rule book well and truly out of the window. So where will he line up for this one, Lasse Sorensen? Well, unfortunately, the lap times set from yesterday give us the grid for today, and as Lasse Sorensen fought his way through, he didn't do too badly in terms of posting the lap time, because he was able to work his way through up into third position. So despite all of the overtakes, despite all of the hard work that he had to do to qualify for this race with the fastest lap of a 50.252 is not a bad effort at all, Ant, is it, when you're having to do so much overtaking?
Yeah, I mean, you put these cars offline once, get onto the marbles, get onto some of the dirt, you do lose a lot of time. So like you say, to set a time that quick whilst coming through the pack, again, that's an achievement on its own.
Let's just guide you through the grids then, and the way that they will line up. On pole position for the race is number 32, Florian Venturi, the Go Fast racing car that was driven in the Elite 1 division by 1997 Formula 1 world champion Jacques Villeneuve. So that's the number 32 car that sits there on pole position. And alongside it is number 50, which is the Hendricks Motorsport Ford in the hands of the Swiss driver Giorgio Maggi. Well, Giorgio is leading the championship coming into this weekend as a result of a solid start to the season with one win under his belt. That came at the first race of the season in Valencia. Row 2 of the grid, it's another winner from the Spanish NASCAR Grand Prix. Round 2 of the championship, Nicolas Risitano claimed his first ever win there. He's at the wheel of the Racers Motorsport Chevy, the number 8 car that sits there on row number 2. A big wave from Nicolas Risitano, who's one of the stars and the characters of the championship. And alongside him is the driver that joined me in the commentary box for the Elite 1 race, your race, earlier on today. Number 24, Andre Castro, the American, at the wheel of his PK Car Sport Chevrolet, the number 24 machine. He'll be hoping for better fortunes from yesterday, where he qualified on pole, was leading the race, but then unfortunately got tipped into a spin and then tipped somebody else into a spin to have to serve a drive-through penalty. Yesterday's race winner is on row number 3, number 66, Lasse Sorensen, came through from, 27th on the grid yesterday to claim the win. Well, what can he do from 5th? You could argue he might win it, run away and hide. There is the rather large frame, all 6'4" of him, Lasse Sorensen, on the inside of row number 3. And for company, number 31, the Indian driver, but he says it's his home NASCAR Grand Prix because he lives in London nowadays. Number 31, Advait Dioda, who came out of the Elite Club, which is a separate sort of time trial that we have, that is the level below in this NASCAR motorsport ladder that we have in Europe. He came out of that as the champion last year. He's at the wheel of number 31 Cal Racing Chevrolet SS. The 4th row of the grid, that's where we see the number 11 PK Car Sport car of Freddie Nordstrom. He is the only driver in the field that has competed in all NASCAR races here since 2012, so he's got more Brands NASCAR experience, you could argue, than anybody in the field. And alongside number 90, Scott Jeffs, who had a great run yesterday, finished 2nd on the road, but was given a 30-second penalty in lieu of a drive-through after the results were issued. An amended result was issued because of contact. What might he be able to do at the wheel of his Brax Racing Chevy there from the 4th row of the grid? And row 5 of the grid is another Ford. It's the Racing Engineering number 48 Ford that was driven by Ander Villarino, the 3-times champion in the Elite 1 division. It is Myatt Snyder, the American, that jumps on board for this Elite 2 race. He sits on the inside of row number 5, and alongside him it is number 9, Vittorio Garelli. He might be a rookie to this championship, but he's raced and has been a champion in AutoGP. He's raced in GP2 and in GP3. He is a very quick driver at the wheel of that number 9 Racers Motorsport Ford Mustang. We might just be able to get to the 6th row of the grid as well. Number 99, Justin Kuntz, the very likeable German driver for Decksweat DF1. In his Chevy, sits on the inside of row number 6. And row number 7, it is where we see car number 19. It's another car from Racers Motorsport, and that is Alessandro Brigatti that sits there on that 6th row of the grid. So they're all lined up there ready to go. Now, for your pre-race, you were on the grid for a very long period of time in very warm conditions. How uncomfortable was it as a driver waiting to get on with it and get the race underway?
Yeah, it has been quite uncomfortable this weekend. We thought, we'll do the UK round. It will be nice and cool like it usually is here, and it won't get too hot in the cars. But with this weather we've got this weekend, that was out the window as well.
I bet you couldn't wait just for the engines to fire up and get rolling and get some air circulating through the car.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they've got no side windows, so from the outside it looks like, there's going to be a nice breeze in that car. That definitely is not the case. None of the air comes in the car at all. We could just do with a little piece of airflow from somewhere. It'd be a great help for us drivers.
And I suppose that it's a warm day, the sun beating down and through the windows with all of your crash helmet on and your fireproof overalls and safety equipment, and also you've got that heat soak, so the heat soak coming out from the engine through the bulkhead, through the floor of the car, through the transmission, everything.
Yeah, obviously you've got the gearbox down the side of your legs. One of my issues I have is the throttle pedal gets so hot, and you can't let go of it. The only time you've got to let go of it is on the brakes, which is not for very long. So when you've got your throttle on the floor down the straights, the floor's hot, the pedals are hot, soaks up through your boots. It is a bit of a handful, yeah.
Right, let's hand downstairs, because I think we are now a matter of seconds away from those infamous words being uttered down there for the final time this weekend.
NASCARs either side of the circuit ready to do battle again, and we've seen what they do. They will pack race, they will create the gap, they will take the gap as soon as it comes through, and they're going to be sat in the cars now focused, already getting hot. We know that it's quite rough and ready for a couple of them in there, but they don't care. They're ready to do this. 30 laps worth of battle yet again. Are we going to get someone going from the rear of the grid all the way through? So our Grand Marshal for this particular race is Akash Makwana, a guest of Mood. Akash, here you go. Please give us the immortal words.
Drivers, start your engine!
Fantastic
Well
stuff.
done, I
so
think that's
those
probably the
words
best
given down there on the start line, albeit about 40 seconds later than was originally timetabled. But we got there, which means that for the final time today, this fantastic grid of 400 brake horsepower V8 engine cars rumble into life. And it's still warm conditions out there. The ambient temperature has probably dropped slightly though, so does that help these drivers a little bit? Their races are slightly shorter, but their qualifying's longer, so that the tyres have done the same work in reality.
Yeah, tyres have done the same work. It is still pretty warm though. I think it's getting quite humid now, which is obviously going to make it hard for the drivers. The tyres are obviously going to drop off. We might see the cars sliding around a little bit more than yesterday's race, struggling to get the power down, but it should show for some good racing.
One thing that we will mention, you might just see that there is a gap on the 9th row of the grid. The number 98 car of Eric De Donker, who races in both Elite 1 and Elite 2, is not out. Now, he missed the Elite 2 race earlier on. I gather Eric De Donker is suffering from a little bit of pain. There's no issue with the car, it's more to do with the driver. So he has made the decision to not compete in either of today's races because he is struggling a bit. And I'm not surprised, because it's a physical car, it's a physical circuit. Lassie Sorensen has competed in all 4 races this weekend, and that's a tough call for anybody, regardless of how fit you are.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I struggle just to do the Elite 1 races, and the way that Sean Hollenby and my teammate in the 46 car gets out, he struggles to do these Elite 2. So to do all 4 races in one weekend is a big ask from his body.
A big ask from his body, and as we've said to so many drivers, it's making sure that in between the races you relax, you zone out, you have physio if you want it, but more importantly, you get the fluids on board, you get the important minerals and vitamins back inside your body again, so you're ready to go again in another few hours.
Yeah, I mean, people don't, I know we keep saying this, but you don't appreciate how hot these cars actually are inside. It is pretty unbelievable.
It's the commentary box is slightly cooler. Not much cooler. Slightly cooler, yeah, not much. Is it not much? And we've got to keep the windows closed, of course, with no aircon. A bit like the drivers that are out there at the moment. So 2 green flag warming up laps, so 2 formation laps to get everything ready to go. How critical? We talk about the rolling starts, and we did see in your race there was a jumped restart for Loris Hazemans, who, when I interviewed him after the race, held his hand up and said, "My mistake, I went too early." You want to get that restart as good as you possibly can. There's a fine line between doing it well and doing it slightly early.
Yeah, there is a very fine line. A lot of these drivers are obviously used to the rolling starts. Us British, we're used to clutch starts, aren't we? We love a clutch start, but yeah, it's pretty difficult. It's easy to jump it. There is quite a big zone where you can go, but it's because it's so close and bumper to bumper as well. You can't really see a lot unless you're the front row. You haven't got great view, so.
Quite a few drivers talk about the visibility out of the cars as well, that you can't see a great deal out of the mirrors. And I think Sean Hollenby, your teammate that you share the 46 with, said yesterday it's also very difficult to gauge where the front of the car is because the bonnet's so long.
Yeah, they are very long. I mean, it's the first time I've seen these European NASCARs in the Brands Hatch garages. Compared to a touring car and stuff, they look twice the length. They're nearly sticking out the roller shutter.
They are a big old beast, the Euro NASCAR. They're off the back of the grid. Watch out for that one, because that's the number 12 of Nave Talor, the Israeli youngster, off the back of the grid, twice an Israeli karting champion. He did not set a time in yesterday's race because the engine grenaded itself. It had 8 holes in the side of that engine, Nave Talor was telling me earlier on. And that's a significant engine failure. He didn't set a time, so he's got to come off the back of the grid, and
yeah, I mean, maybe you can do a repeat of yesterday's race. And
maybe, you never know. We had a winner from the back yesterday, yeah, so what to say, it couldn't be done. And Francesco Sini started off the back of the grid because of the problems. That's who shares the car with Naval Talor in the race early on. He started off the back of the grid and got himself inside the top 12, so it was good progress made by the Elite 1 driver in that very car. So here we go, everybody. We are about to go green for the final time this weekend. The Elite 2 division, round 6 of the 2019 NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. So buckle up, everybody. Florian Venturi and Giorgio Maggi on the front row of the grid. The green flag waves. We get the race underway as they charge their way up towards Paddock Hill Bend for the first time, and it's going to be Florian Venturi that takes up the lead of the race. Nicholas Risitano at the wheel of the number 8 car, looking to get through into second place. He got the inside line going up into Paddock Hill Bend. Can he hang on to it on the run up in towards Druids? Lock brakes from Risitano. Was there a little shove there? I'm not entirely sure there was. I think it was probably cold tyres, but Risitano will not have done those tyres a great deal of good with that lock up very early on in the race.
No, it's very difficult at the start as well. The tyre pressures are going to be quite low. The teams are going to start them low to try and give them a bit of life for the end of the race and to flat flat spot those both fronts actually into Druids there's definitely going to make his steering wheel feel like it's a handful.
Absolutely, his eyeballs will be bouncing round now that the tyre isn't absolutely spherical, and of course every time he brakes hard again it is likely to get back down to the same flat spot and lock up again if he's not careful. Florian Venturi looking to scamper away with the lead of the race here, which was what he was looking to do yesterday, until all of a sudden he had those gearbox problems starting the final lap and lost out to the number 66 car of Lasse Sorensen, who comes through in 5th place at the end of lap number 1. So the Chevrolet of Florian Venturi leads, Nicholas Risitano in 2nd place, the leading Ford Giorgio Maggi in 3rd place, Andre Castro at the wheel of the number 24 PK Car Sport car sits there in 4th place. Then it's Lasse Sorensen and Advet Dioda, who finished on the podium at the wheel of the yellow 31 from Cal Racing last time through. He completes the top 6. We have so many new drivers into Elite 2 division this year, so many rookies, Antwerp Eels, but so many really quick and talented rookies.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you was to go on TSL and look at the timings that these Elite 2 drivers do, they're not slow at all. Sometimes in some sessions this weekend we've actually had Elite 2 drivers faster than the Elite 1 drivers, which is that is an achievement. I think some of them should go up to Elite 1. I think there should be a bit of a shuffle around sometimes, but obviously this is what they've chose to do, and they've just got to get on with the championship that they're in.
Maggi up the inside of Nicholas Risitano, a good move going into the corner, but carries too much speed through it at Druid's corner, so the order shuffles back to as it was on the way out, but goes to show that the Swiss driver at the wheel of the number 50 Hendrix Ford is keen to work his way through. Lasse Sorensen up the inside of Andre Castro. There's a change for 4th place, and all of this is just allowing Florian Venturi to gap everybody. 2 racing laps completed. He leads by 1.146 seconds at this stage, the French teenager looking to try and make amends from the problems that befell him yesterday. But say, despite the problem in losing, I think we're stuck in 3rd and 4th gear for the final lap or so. The amended results did see him finish on the podium ultimately, despite the fact he took the checkered flag in 4th place. So over the start-finish line, they are now onto lap 4 of the scheduled 30. And for the moment, for Florian Venturi, it is all very much going to plan, isn't it?
Yeah, he's doing exactly what he needs to do at the moment. Break the gap from the cars behind, use these tyres. These are the best the tyres are going to be, so if he can break the gap now and manage them, he's in a really good place at the end.
Snatch break again from Nicholas Risitano in 2nd position, which might allow Giorgio Maggi to get the overlap. Not quite though, so along the Cooper Straight up towards the sweeping left-hander at Surtees, the right-hander then at McLaren, then up towards Clearways and Clark Curve, where all of the drivers are saying it's a great corner. It's so important to get off that corner well, feed the throttle in as well slowly so that you don't spin the wheels up, and then try and propel yourself down the straight. It's not an easy circuit to overtake at, but the run coming out of Clearways and Clark gives you the best chance, surely.
Yeah, it's probably one of the most important exits on this circuit. Very long start-finish line straight, and if you can get that exit right and slightly better than the car in front, you have got a really good chance into paddock.
Well, Giorgio Maggi's now trying around the outside of Nicholas Risitano. That isn't going to work. He needs to watch his mirrors here, because number 66 Lasse Sorensen might pick his pocket. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th all together, because we can weave into those 3. Andre Castro is not far behind, and then Advet Dioda thereafter. Scott Jeffs is just outside of the top 6 at the moment, the British driver at the wheel of the number 90 Chevrolet from Brax Racing. But this is a great fight going on for 2nd position. Lead advantage is now grown to over 3 seconds for Florian Venturi. The one thing he will not want, Antwerp Eels, Florian Venturi, our race leader, is a safety car.
No, not with a gap like this. That would be the last thing he wants to see out the marshal's posts. You just got to hope from that, when you're in that position, you've got to hope that the boys behind are being respectful and that they're going to keep clean.
Let's see whether that can be the case. Florian Venturi looking to see whether he might be able to scoop up a win here. He won the 2nd of the 2 races at Franciacorta. That's his only win so far this year, because of the disappointment of yesterday, say losing 1st and 2nd gear just as he was about to start the last lap of the race and dropping him on the road to 4th, which was ultimately amended to 3rd with penalties for Scott Jeffs. But Risitano doing a very good job here. The Valencia winner, round 2 of the championship, holding the man at bay that claimed round 1 of the championship. Can Giorgio Maggi get the overlap this time coming out of Clark Curve? It's not for want of trying, is it? He's got the Hendrix Ford right in the slipstream of the Racers Motorsport Chevy, but the Italian is not letting him through. Maggi takes as wide a run up towards Paddock Hill Bend as he can. Again, those snatch breaks from Nicholas Risitano. He is asking a lot of those tyres.
Yeah, and like you said earlier, every time that tyre locks, it's going to lock on the lock-up before. So that flat spot's just going to get worse and worse and worse. he probably needs to start looking at dialing a bit more rear bias into that car just to take a bit of weight off those fronts.
Is that the best thing you do? That's what you do as a driver. Continue just that. Lasse Sorensen up the inside of Giorgio Maggiu, sees him coming, leaves the door open. That allows Andre Castro to try and squeeze his way through. Fantastic stuff from the Elite 1 of the Elite 2 division guys, and that is 2 places lost there for Giorgio Maggi. He was hoping to gain 1. He's lost 2. It just goes to show how close the racing is and how unpredictable in Elite 2.
Yeah, I mean, Brands Hatch is obviously a very small track. If you get put offline on one corner, you're going to be offline for probably the next 2 or 3 maybe. So if there's a train behind like there is here from, you know, second position backwards, you can soon get shuffled back.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened there to the number 50 car of Giorgio Maggi. We ought to say that leading the race is Florian Venturi, the leading rookie that we've got in the field, i.e. those drivers in their first season of NASCAR racing, is the car now in 3rd position in the hands of Lasse Sorensen. So he sits there in 3rd place at this stage and is doing a fantastic job. Leading the Legend Trophy is going to be, I'm just having a quick scroll through to see who will be leading it. I think it is going to be Eric Clement that will be leading that one. He's also eligible for the Rookie Cup, but he is old enough now to be eligible for the Legend Trophy, which is for bronze-graded drivers aged 40 and over that enter the Elite 2 Championship. So laps ticking off all of the time. 8 laps now completed for Florian Venturi in the lead of the race. Still this great fight going on for 2nd and 3rd position with Nicholas Risitano somehow, and I'm not quite sure how, hanging on to 2nd place. We've seen several locked breaks from him, but the key thing is he's come close on a couple of occasions of having his pocket picked, but he's doing just enough, isn't he, to keep them all behind.
Yeah, obviously he can feel from the driver's seat that them front tyres are not quite right and that it's starting to lock up, so he's obviously brought his pace back a little bit just to try and maintain that position. P2 is obviously a very good result, so if you can back everyone up and stay in that position, bearing in mind we've still got a very long way to go, but I'm sure that's what he's going to try and do.
Yeah, a long way to go in this race, a long way to go in the championship, but all championship points that you can gather are important. 40 for a race win, 35 for 2nd. Lasse Sorensen now in 3rd place, looking to try and attack Nicholas Risitano on the run up towards Paddock Hill Bend. They'll dive onto their brakes and work their way through the corner. Still the same order. Keep an eye on the number 24 PK Car Sport Chevy in the hands of the very, very rapid American Andre Castro. Is he up the inside of Lasse Sorensen? He's trying to. Sorensen round the outside of Risitano. Andre Castro up the inside of Sorensen. Giorgio Maggi, look, with the best seat in the house, sitting there in what will be 5th position. This is fantastic stuff. It's a Chevy 1, 2, 3, 4 at the moment, and the leading Ford sits there in 5th place. The fastest lap of the race, as you can see, has now just gone to Andre Castro, a 50.470, but he's now in the train of cars and is being held up, as is everybody, behind Nicholas Risitano, who's doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, I just think that the longer he holds on, the more of a bottleneck we're going to get, so you know, this 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th might turn into a lot more than that soon.
Yeah, they'll all start to catch. The next car that might catch would be the 31, the Cal Racing Chevy SS, in the hands of Advek Dioda. Nicholas Risitano needs to try and come across from one side of the circuit to the other to prevent Lasse Sorensen working his way through. That's exactly what he's done. Sorensen will follow him through the corner, so Andre Castro thinks, right, I'll try around the outside. The outside at Druids would give him the inside line for Graham Hill Bend, and this could be a fantastic move from the American up the inside of Lasse Sorensen, who just gives him enough room. Giorgio Maggi looking to try and squeeze his way through, given any opportunity, and only now, as they head up towards Surtees, will Andre Castro finally get the job done. Through the left-hander goes Andre Castro, takes the place away from Lasse Sorensen, who didn't do a great deal wrong there. Andre Castro was very brave around the outside at Druids, but also very fair was Lasse Sorensen not to push him on the grass.
Yeah, very fair racing, like you say. Now that he's up to 3rd, we'll be able to see what he can do getting to P2. He's obviously a man on the charge. Up the inside into Paddock, like, there you go, job done. Yeah, it didn't take long, did it? Nicholas Risitano, those trying to fight back. He's trying to get the overlap coming out of the corner, and he might make it stick here, you know, the Italian. Is he going to come back at the American? Yes, he does. And now it's Andre Castro that's on the outside line. Lasse Sorensen is on the inside line. Giorgio Maggi is there. Advek Dioda, as you suggested, has now caught up. Look at this queue that is all still behind the fantastic driving of Nicholas Risitano. And now Giorgio Maggi has got the overlap on Lasse Sorensen. Can he put the Hendricks Ford through and ahead of the Danish driver? Side by side through Surtees, that's brave, but now it's a right-hander, which means that Lasse Sorensen hangs on to the place. This is great, great stuff, and at the moment, it's all very, very clean. Yeah, very clean. The longer that this train's going to get, though, it might get a bit more interesting.
They are queuing up behind. What's Andre Castro going to do this time? Is he going to have another look at the inside? He does. Watch out for the bump as you head up there. More lock breaks from Nicholas Risitano, who last time through got the overlap coming back. That is not quite going to work this time. So Andre Castro looks as though he has got the job done. So Risitano now down into third place, but trying around the outside comes Lasse Sorensen, whilst trying to keep the door closed on the number 50 Hendrix Ford of Giorgio Maggi. Sorensen up the inside of Risitano, who just sees him coming at the last minute, avoids the contact. That slows the exit pace of Risitano. He loses one place, he might lose two, possibly three here, because Giorgio Maggi has gone through and Advet Dioda has gone through, and as you said just a few moments ago, you get pushed offline and all of a sudden it's not one place you lose here at Brands. In the case of Nicholas Risitano, it was three.
Yeah, I mean, obviously this is getting on to the late afternoon now, and there's been a lot of racing here today. There's a lot of marbles down on the outside lines that you can barely see from the TV. So it happened to me going into paddock earlier. As soon as you go offline, it's you know, you're skating around everywhere.
You're skating around. You're doing well to sort of control the car and keep it out of the gravel. So yeah, it's sort of just exactly what Nicholas Risitano is able to do there down at Graham Hill Bend. It now looks as though he's coming under pressure yet again. There's no yielding in the pressure, is he? He's had a few cars manage to squeeze their way through, but there are more still queuing up behind him. The next of which is the number 90 Brax Racing Ford of Scott Jeffs, who, as we say, yesterday finished second on the road, but was given a 30-second penalty, and that dropped him all the way down to 16th or 17th place in the overall standings. Other good fights going on as well is number 19, that's Alessandro Borgatti, fighting with Justin Kuntz, and a spin there. That is Eric Clermont, the Frenchman, the 43-year-old who was leading the Legend Trophy, facing the wrong way at Druid, so that will shuffle the order for the Legend Trophy for those drivers bronze categorised but aged 40 and over. We'll pick up on that as the race wears on. We are now on the half-distance lap.
Half-distance lap, yeah, but I don't think we're halfway through this action today.
I absolutely agree, Ant Waterdeals. There is no let-up, and there hasn't been all weekend. We have had some unbelievable racing from the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series, a little bit of contact here and there, but this race so far has been a good one. Andre Castro, look at that, fastest lap of the race so far, 50.369, which means that the gap comes down first to second. It came down by half a second that time through, but it's still 4.1 seconds that this man here, number 32 for Go Fast Racing, the Frenchman, Andre Castro, Florian Venturi leads Andre Castro by. Now, if you're Florian Venturi, you've worked hard, you've built the advantage, do you then, in conjunction with yourself and your spotter, just control that gap?
Yeah, I mean, he could quite possibly be controlling that pace, who knows, but Castro is on a charge. He's shown that. He's banging in some purple lap times now, so if he can keep this up and keep closing that gap, like you say, we're only just halfway. It could get tight at the end unless Venturi, you know, starts picking the pace up.
Yeah, he might have to pick the pace up here, even if the tyres maybe are struggling. It could be him just controlling the pace, but he lost more time on that lap. The gap came down again by another 3/4 of a second, so it's now down to 3.4 seconds first to second. There is the fifth place car, which is Advet Dioda. He is circulating with Nicholas Risitano, number 90 Scott Jeffs not too far behind, and Myatt Snyder, the American, is not far off that as well. So that's sort of 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th places, and off at Druid, backwards and into the gravel trap. That, I'm afraid, looks like Sean Hollenby.
It does look like Sean. That definitely looks like a Union Jack on that rear quarter.
Right, so that's your car, isn't it?
Yeah,
Sean's.
Yeah, Sean's had a very tough weekend. You know, it's our home circuit. He only lives a couple of miles down the road, but he has been having a lot of bad luck. I'm sure he's going to blame me for damaging the car in Elite One race earlier, but we'll have to have a chat about that.
It's a good little relationship you two have, isn't it?
Yeah, obviously 2017 I raced the British Touring Car for him. You know, he obviously runs AMD Tuning. He was effectively my boss that year. So to race with him and be teammates with someone that used to be a boss is quite different.
Some good banter, I would imagine, but that's for a bar and a pint, isn't it? Maybe that we can discuss that. I would imagine we might see safety car coming out as a result of that, because the car is not at all in a safe place, and that's just at the point that our race leader Florian Venturi was about to meet the slower traffic and put laps on him, and clambering out of the car is Sean Hollenby. So not quite sure what's happened there, whether he's lost it on the brakes or whether there was any contact. We simply don't know. But is that an unusual place to go off there, that braking zone?
Not the braking zone itself is actually very difficult in these cars, but that looks to me like he's turned left under braking. Usually if you lock a rear into there, it turns right and spins around the usual way, but he looks like he's turned left and maybe caught the fence, so possibly a bit of contact. We'll have to have a look.
Yeah, or maybe something's broken on the car. Yeah, we simply don't know. But either way, he's out. Safety car is now out, and it has not quite picked up the race leader. It's picked up Eric Clermont, who is being given the wave by the look of things. The safety car also waving by the 54 of Ariana Casoli. And we are now going to see possibly exactly what Florian Venturi didn't want to happen. We were talking about building the advantage, we were talking about controlling the gap, and all of a sudden, through no fault of his own, out comes the safety car, and Andre Castro, who was 3.5 seconds behind him, come the restart, is going to be right with him.
Yep, exactly what Venturi did not want, but perfect for Castro. He's got that car perfectly dialed in, fastest lap of the race so far, now right on the back bumper of the leader. Let's see what he can do from here.
So Florian Venturi leads the race, the number 32 car leading the race, the 24, the Chevy of Andre Castro second. Andre Castro is the leading rookie that we've got in the field as well, so it's for this one we will have top 3 overall on the podium. We'll have the top 3 rookies, we'll have the top 3 in the legend category, and we'll have the winner of the Lady Cup as well. So Andre Castro second on the road, but the leading rookie. Third is number 66 Lasse Sorensen, so he's third overall, but the second rookie in the field. And fourth, and therefore the third rookie that we've got, is number 50 Giorgio Maggi. As I say, you know, inside the top 5 there's only one driver that's not a rookie. That's the race leader. That's the quality of the rookies we've got coming in this year. As I scroll down through the order, who is the leading driver in the legend category now? Twas ever the man who's won 3 back-to-back Legends Championships over the last 3 years, the very likeable and very quick Belgian driver, number 78 Jerry De Weert for Brax Racing, is the leading legend driver that we've got in the field, and Ariana Casoli, the Italian, will be leading the Lady Trophy at this stage. So maybe this isn't a bad thing for some drivers. If they were struggling with tyres and maybe the pressures had put the tyre outside of its ideal operating window, safety cars can be a good thing because it allows the pressures to drop again and gets the tyre back in the sweet spot.
Yeah, perfect for guys that are struggling. The trick here is to let the tyres cool down gradually, but you've got to try and guess how soon the race is going to restart. If you let them cool down too much, you're never going to get them back. If you keep them too hot, they've never had a breather. So it is quite a guessing game, really. This is where the spotters are important, to let them know how the lads are getting on, clearing up.
There is your car, albeit it was in the hands of Sean Hallaby, being dragged out of harm's way. Doesn't look as though there's any damage to it, really. It did sort of back itself very lightly into the tyres. A small amount of damage to the rear, but other than that, it looks okay, doesn't it?
Yeah, obviously that passenger door's got a nice wheel mark in the side of it, but
that wasn't there when you handed it over, was it?
Doesn't look, no, definitely not. Whatever he says, it definitely wasn't there. It doesn't look like that was the contact that resulted in that crash there. It's the wrong side of the car, I think.
Damage to the number 1 car as it just disappeared out of our shot here. I think if the camera hangs on here, which it should be able to do, yeah, you can see the flapping bodywork coming towards us now. That is the number 1 car there on our camera, and I think that is the car that we are hearing made contact with Sean Hallaby. That is Thomas Krasinis, who is Greek by nationality, but the 17-year-old has done a bit of racing here in the UK in the Junior Saloon Car Cup, which I think is another championship that you've sort of coached a few drivers in, isn't it, over the years?
Yeah, is that what the original Saxmax Championship?
Yeah,
so I won the Saxmax Championship in 2010.
Yeah.
So yeah, I suppose we come from a similar background, really.
You didn't know him, did you? Did you know him?
No.
Yeah, so I think he did 2016-2017 seasons in, as it's now called, the Junior Saloon Car Championship, which is a great little championship. And again, you know, to see drivers that have graduated out of that, you've gone through that same championship and gone into British touring cars, and now here in Euro NASCAR, Thomas Krasinas has gone through that championship and has ended up in the same place. It's great.
Yeah, you need these little step ladders for people. You can't just jump into something like this, obviously. Championships like that are perfect for guys trying to step up the ladder, and as you say, there's quite a lot of drivers have done that. I've done that. Obviously, budget is an issue as you get up to this level, but you need that platform, yeah.
And I think, you know, you look at the way that the NASCAR ladder is formed as well, in that you can do the recruitment days, which we have in France, and we've done a few of them in Franciacorta in Italy, where some drivers then sample the car for the first time. Some then go on to race in the Elite Club, which is the sort of time trial section to it that we haven't had here supporting us at Brands Hatch. Others then come into Elite 2 and then graduate up to Elite 1, and some even then head over to America and race in the championships there. So there's sort of the structure that Euro NASCAR has, in conjunction with NASCAR on the other side of the states as well, the drive for diversity and all of that, that the whole programme is put together, isn't it, to support guys like you to maybe go on and better your careers.
Yeah, exactly. It's something that's needed, to be fair. This Euro package that they've got built now is perfect. It's sort of linking NASCAR all over the world.
And it is a global brand now as well. When you look at the Pinty series that we have, and the Mexican series, as well as obviously all the various levels that we have over in the US as well. It is a global, really, almost family now, our NASCAR family. So it looks as though the lineup is now okay, is the information over here. And there's the flapping bodywork on Thomas Krasinus' car. You were saying, I'm going to pull you up, only because it still amazes me. You can't jump straight into one of these cars. 16-year-old Ben Creeder has done that. Did lots of e-racing. Turned 16 on the 15th of March. Did his first race on the 16th of March and had to queue almost every weekend to get racing in, to get his licence upgrade, to join the grid. And he's out in this race at 16 years of age. That's staggering. Out.
Yeah, obviously he's a very talented young man. Like you say, with next to no experience really, to jump straight in one of these cars, which are not the easiest thing to drive at all. He's doing an incredible job.
Where is Ben at the moment? I'm scrolling my way through to see where he is. He's in 18th position as things currently stand. So he will gain one. Will he gain one place? No, because Thomas Krasinus is still circulating. So in 18th position out of 26, 27 cars that started it on what is really his first racing weekend, I believe, here at Brands Hatch. So looks as though safety car remaining out for another lap. So the lineup is okay, we gather. The final bits of sweeping up, I think, are now being done. It looks as though the stricken number 46 car from Marco Steep Motorsport with AMD tuning of Sean Hollenby, the 53-year-old from just down the road here at Brands Hatch, has now been dragged out of harm's way. So you may well see the safety car I think coming in at the end of this lap, so the signal will be given for all the drivers down this Cooper Straight to get themselves back into 2x2 order. Now, Florian Venturi wasn't under pressure for the lead of the race before the safety car. He will be now, but for Andre Castro, because it's a restart and a 2x2 restart, he's on the outside line at turn number 1 and has to try and prevent Lasse Sorensen, who's in third for this restart, squeezing his way through.
Yeah, but I mean, the other way of also looking at this is, if he's feeling brave enough, he could potentially outbrake him into paddock right around the outside and try and tuck in before Druids.
So here we go, the Whelen lights are off on our safety car, and we're about to get this final NASCAR Whelen Euroseries race underway. They are on lap number 23 at the moment, so the one that are about to start, and 7 more to go to see who is going to claim top honours today. Yesterday's race winner restarts in third position for this one, the number 66 Chevy in the hands of the Danish driver Lasse Sorensen, but it's the Frenchman Florian Venturi that will get the race back underway. Neat 2x2 order, 2 lanes of cars. The signal is given to get the restart underway. It's a good restart by the look of things by everybody, all of whom are holding those positions until the control line, where they can then break out at the 2 lines. Can Lasse Sorensen squeeze his way through ahead of Andre Castro? He bounces over the curbs at Paddock Hill Bend to try and carve the door open, but it's not quite going to work. Florian Venturi leads the race, bits of bodywork just flying up further back down through the order, but the order's still the same. Florian Venturi leading, Andre Castro in second place, Lasse Sorensen in third place, but Advait Yoda at the wheel of the number 31, the yellow car now from Cal Racing, got up the inside of Giorgio Maggi heading in towards Graham Hill Bend. Can he hang on to it along the Cooper Straight? Yes, he has, and Venturi all of a sudden has lost the lead of the race. What happened there again for Florian Venturi? It has been such a remarkable season for him. Small mistake, it can only have been coming out of Graham Hill Bend, but I didn't see anything obvious that would drop him from the lead down to third.
No, I missed that, to be honest. They're all so close together. Like you say, one wheel out of line and that's it, game over. So obviously he's lost the lead of the race. Perfect for Castro. He just needs to crack on now and try and get the job done.
Yeah, can he claim his first win in the NASCAR Whelen Euroseries? Advait Yoda runs a little bit wide in 5th position. That's going to allow Scott Jeffs up the inside at the wheel of the Brax Racing Chevy. He goes through at the wheel of his Camaro ahead of the SS. He's now got Myatt Snyder at the wheel of the 48 Ford, not that far behind him. Looks as though Nicholas Rizzitano at the wheel of the number 8, with all of those tyre problems and the lock brakes, is still struggling. He's still struggling his way around. He's now lost 2 more places on that lap and has dropped from 6th down into 8th position, but Andre Castro picking up the lead, might be able to scamper away here to claim his first victory. Look at the queue of cars heading round through Clearways Corner. This is lap number 25 of the scheduled 30 that we are about to complete, and as they fire their way over the start-finish line, it certainly looks as though Andre Castro has done what he wants to do. He has built a very small margin, and it is a very small margin. It's just 0.6 of a second between himself and Lasse Sorensen, who was a matter of, thousandths of a second slower than him last time through. Nose to tail, 2 for the lead with just a handful of laps to go.
Yeah, great racing. Just having a quick look, the man on the move seems to be Scott Jeffs in that number 90 car. he looks like he's got a real sharp front end on that, and he's just chipping away at these top 4.
Yeah, Scott, another new driver, another rookie to the championship. He came out of the Mini Challenge, where he was a champion in the open class, graduated up to the JCWs, where he had mixed fortunes. But look at this squabble for the lead of the race. Andre Castro looking for his first win in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. Lassie Sorensen looking for his 3rd win in only his 2nd weekend of racing with us. Over the start-finish line, onto lap number 27. It's still a Chevy 1-2 at the moment. It's the PK Car Sport car out front, the Deck Sweat DF1 racing machine of the Danish driver there in 2nd place, who just shows the nose of the car to Andre Castro. The leading Ford is still Giorgio Maggi, who's there in 3rd place. And case in point about the rookies, Ant Walton-Eels, rookies at the moment in this championship, in this race, 1st, 2nd and 3rd.
Yeah, exactly. And Sorensen can definitely smell the double here at Brands Hatch. He's not going to let Castro get away at all.
Well, we saw Andre Castro leading the race yesterday. He was tipped into a spin. We saw Andre Castro leading a race at Valencia, where, guess what? He was tipped into a spin. Let's hope that those gremlins, that lot of deja vu, is now behind him, because he's got the very fair, I would say, Lassie Sorensen. I've been hugely impressed with Lassie Sorensen since he appeared in this championship, and I'm not somebody that bigs up drivers. I'm just massively impressed with what he's done, and in a typical Scandinavian way, gone about it very quietly. He is looking to try and pressurise the lead of the race. Giorgio Maggi under pressure from Florian Venturi for 3rd place, and Venturi's just popped in the fastest lap of the race so far. That's impressive, so late on in the race.
Yeah, I mean, whatever the issue was on that restart where he dropped back, is, you know, it's obviously not a mechanical problem. Like you say, fastest lap of the race in this stage is pretty incredible.
Makes you wonder whether he missed a gear or something like that all of a sudden halted his progress, because neither of us saw anything on the cameras that suggested that he'd run wide or anything. Here we are. This is lap number 28 that they are now on. Andre Castro, remember, joins me in the commentary box for the Elite One race. He was on pole position yesterday for the race, but hasn't as yet had a win in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. Might he be able to correct that? We've seen him have 2 2nd places, 2nd at round 2 of the championship at Valencia, a 2nd at round 4 of the championship at Franciacorta, but a lock break there heading up in towards Druids might be the telltale sign that the lead is about to change. I think by the skin of his teeth he hung on to it, but we know Sorensen is good on the brakes coming in towards Graham Hill Bend. There's contact, albeit door to door, between the pair of them on the way into the corner, contact on the way out. They slow each other up, and now it's 4 for the lead.
Yeah, obviously Sorensen, like I said, can smell that double win. Quite a robust move there into Graham Hill. Not really a great overtaking place, but like you say, slight bit of contact. But luckily they're both still going.
They're both still going. Whether there will be any decision taken about that contact is not for us to worry about. That's Philippe Godet, the race director, that will have a look at the footage and make the decisions. That's what he's paid to do. Over the start-finish line, Sorensen leads. Andre Castro snatches the break as he heads over the bump at Paddock Hill Bend in 2nd position. Giorgio Maggi there in 3rd place. Florian Venturi in 4th at the moment, and it's still rookies in 1st, 2nd and 3rd position. Last time we looked, Jerry DeVert was leading the legend category, and as I look back through, I think he has lost out again. I think it might be Eric Clermont that's gone back through to lead the legend category. So there's been lots of shuffling in this order. They are on their final lap, and Lassie Sorensen is through to potentially make it a back-to-back win here at Brands Hatch as he turns his way through Clearways and up towards Clark Corner for the final time. Lassie Sorensen accelerates his way out of Clark over the start-finish line, and it is a win in round 6 of the championship, at least on the road for Lassie Sorensen. Andre Castro comes through and finishes in 2nd position, with Giorgio Maggi completing the top 3. As ever, the Elite 2 division of the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series is the most unpredictable division, but again, they've provided some pure racing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the best race I've seen this year from the series across Elite 1 and Elite 2, and if that hasn't opened up UK drivers' eyes to this championship, I don't know what will.
Well, it's not just UK as well. Anybody in Europe that's watching this, or anybody even on the other side of the Atlantic. We've had so many Americans come and join us this year. I think more and more people are taking notice of this championship as the NASCAR brand and family grows on this side of the Atlantic, because we are the only NASCAR affiliated championship this side of the Atlantic, and we're very proud of that. And you look at the quality of the show that they put on. You can't argue otherwise, can you, Ant?
No, like you're saying, incredible race. All the guys did a fantastic job. Just have to see, like you say, what the Clark's going to do about those moves, whether, have a look through the footage and speak to the drivers. but you can't fault any of the top boys. Put on a real good show.
It's a fantastic show as well. Yeah, I mean, if you want to hang around, hang around. If you want to go and cool off outside of the commentary box, feel free, absolutely, because it is rather warm in here. It's up to you. It's your call. It's your call.
I don't mind, mate. I'm free to hang around for a bit.
Hang around for a bit then. Hang on. Well, now the noise is gone, we can maybe open the windows a little bit and get some airflow through the commentary box. So that's it for the NASCAR action here. There's still a couple more support races to come at Brands Hatch, but yeah, we're going to wait for our race winner to leave the centre of the circuit, escorted round through the gate at the entrance towards turn number 1, and through the throngs and the thousands of people that are gathered here to a dedicated victory lane that we have here at Brands Hatch. A quick question, and having raced in the BTCC, where the fans get the opportunity to sort of do a pit walk and meet the drivers and autograph sessions, NASCAR bring it to another level again. That's not a criticism of the BTCC, it's just that they are very, very inclusive to all of the families, whether it be the dedicated victory lane where the fans can get close to, and the fact that we have grid walks where they come right up onto the grid, which must be a distraction for a driver just before your race.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to see, really. It's the first time I've been to this weekend, and to see a victory lane put outside of the infield where it usually is for all the crowds to get amongst, it just shows how much effort they're putting in, and everyone seems to appreciate it. Apparently it was sold out today, Brands Hatch was, so obviously they're getting a bit of payback for that. Yeah,
and it's the same everywhere, ladies and gentlemen. If you're listening, when we go to Most in the Czech Republic for our next couple of races, again, it's the same thing there. Open access to the fans and the families that we encourage you to bring along, and it's not just all of the racing action you see from the NASCAR Wheel and Euro Series. There's loads to do off circuit as well. So there is the dedicated Brands Hatch victory lane for what is Speedfest 7 here, would you believe? Speedfest 7. We first saw this championship's predecessor come to Brands Hatch in 2011, where former Le Mans winner Eric Ellery secured both of the victories. We took on board the NASCAR branding in 2012, and Brands Hatch has been a firm fixture year on year on the calendar, and without question, year on year, it serves up some great racing. The fans certainly enjoy it because they flock here in their thousands for all of the supporting action as well. And well, next time out, we'll go somewhere new to Most. Is it at a circuit you know anything about? And I don't. I've never been.
No, I've never been, to be honest.
I've heard good things.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, I'm new to this series. I'm not quite sure where they've been in the past, but obviously I did Brands Hatch because I know this weekend, and like I say, I'm looking at doing Benray because it's an oval. But in terms of the other race circuits that they do, I'm going to be new to them all if I end up doing them.
Well, I've heard nothing but good reports about Moston, and in stark contrast to Brands Hatch, where we've really only got, you could say, 5 or 6 corners on the Indy circuit. I think it's 21 or 22 corners at Most, so it's going to take a lot more learning, isn't it, that circuit?
Yeah, exactly. And obviously, if you're slightly lacking something, on entry, mid-corner or exit at Brands Hatch, you're only going to be sort of half a second, 3/4 of a second off. You do it at a track with 22 corners, you've soon got a lot of time to find.
Yeah, 2 or 3 seconds. And I know Sean Hollenby was saying he uses you as the Elite One driver as the benchmark. He always has in his mind, subject to the length of the circuit, a distance that he wants to be away from you in terms of time. And it's a shame that we're not going to have that benchmark because you're not doing Most, unfortunately. So there is Lasse Sorensen, who is for the second time this weekend heading towards victory lane here at Brands Hatch. And say, if you not joined us over the course of this weekend, we keep saying it, Lasse Sorensen is a big guy. He looks a big guy inside the car. He's an even bigger guy when he gets out. He used to say, just 5 years ago when he was racing single-seaters, that he was half the height that he is, and he hadn't really grown. And he said, I don't know what's happened, but all of a sudden I shot up in height, and in terms of his physique, he became bigger. But you look at him, and despite what is 6'4" in height, he squeezes himself out of the NASCAR, and there is no disadvantage for Lasse Sorensen being as tall as he is. That is going to mean a heck of a lot to the Deck Sweat DF1 team. The contact between himself and Andre Castro will be looked at, but for the moment he's going to enjoy those celebrations. And regardless of what happens afterwards, he's going to savour this moment.
Yeah, I mean, what more could he have asked for, really? Done the double in Elite 2. So yeah, he's going to be a very happy man, and probably some celebrations tonight.
So here's how it works.
So Lasse Sorensen takes the crash helmet off there in victory lane. It's time to head downstairs to victory lane and grab some reaction from our race winner.
On the podium for the champagne. common circumstance that you've come to love about American Speedfest here at Brands Hatch?
Lasse Sørensen, 2 in a row. How do you feel?
Feel very good. It couldn't been better weekend for me. I mean, Brands Hatch are definitely one of my favorite circuits so far. And I mean, after the bad luck we had in qualifying, we did everything we could to make sure the car was running perfect. And I can say the car was really good, both yesterday and today. And without a good car, you're not able to win races. So thanks to Dexvet DF1 Racing and my sponsor back home, FlexLease.nu.
What can we expect at Most?
Say again?
What can we expect at Most?
Hopefully a win again. I'm a winner, so I always go for the win. If it's not possible, we go for the second position. But let's keep winning. It's the most fun you've had.
All right, congratulations, Lasse Sørensen.
Thank you.
So a big thumbs up and a big smile, rightly so, from Lasse Sørensen, who is still receiving the congratulations of the team down there in Victory Lane. It's always great to hear from our race winner, and he will leave Brands Hatch a very, very happy man indeed. What could he do, as he said, in Most? And one thing we ought to say is thank you to Antwater Neils. Thank you very much, Ant. It's been an absolute pleasure.
No, thank you for having me, and thanks to all the crowd at Brands Hatch this weekend that's come and supported us, and hopefully I'll see you on some of the other NASCAR Wheel and Euro Series weekends.
And thank you to everybody that is watching the footage online as well. But that is it for the moment from Brands Hatch. From myself, Mark Werrell, thank you to all of the drivers that have joined me in the commentary box. Thank you to the NASCAR Wheel and Euro Series for providing such fantastic entertainment at such an amazing venue, Brands Hatch. But for the moment, we park things up and we will head to Most in the Czech Republic for the next 2 rounds, for round 7 and round 8 of the 2019 NASCAR Wheel and Euro Series on the 29th and the 30th of June. Goodbye from Brands Hatch. NASCAR Wheel and Euro Series will continue its travels around Europe, and for the first time ever we'll head to Most in the Czech Republic on the 29th and 30th of June. With 4 races over the course of the weekend, there'll be plenty for the fans and the drivers to get excited about. The NASCAR Grand Prix of the Czech Republic also marks the halfway point of the 2019 season. Close racing and pure racing are guaranteed. But when the checkered flag falls, who will claim the win?